So we finally got the motor out of the 4Runner. Here it is on the hoist. Pretty much not any good. I'm gonna pull all the good parts off, throw them in a tote, and dump the rest of it somewhere else, I guess. But here it is in the engine bay. It's pretty oily, so I'm probably gonna try and clean some of that before the newer motor goes back in. Got the new oil pump on the old engine, and I'm gonna start putting the timing belt on and the new gaskets and all on that. Pulling the engine on a 4Runner was very, very difficult, or not difficult, but just annoying, because there was about 1,000 more bolts than I thought it would be, like how to take brackets off the exhaust and everything, and I don't know, it was just pretty annoying. So I have these injectors from my old engine that I'm going to have to use on the new one because the connectors are different. I'm going to rebuild them with these O-ring kits from Rock Auto and just make sure it's all brand new before I'm putting it back in. I got this done on this side. It's super easy. You just pull it out and match these gaskets up with the old ones. Super easy, and it should make a pretty good difference in reliability in the future. Got the front cover on, all the front pieces. Got the injectors in from the other engine. It's coming along pretty good. So we got some new parts for the 4Runner. Got some Bilstein 5100s front and rear. And I got some Old Man Emu springs. And I got a spring compressor too, so I don't have to go rent one for like $25 when I think this one was like $25 anyway. I was able to get this lift and spring combo on sale, so I went ahead and got it for my birthday, which was a couple weeks ago. I'm about to install a diff drop. These are 2 spacers, the bolts, and the washers. So it's super straightforward. Take the bolt out, put the spacer in right here, and just tighten everything back up. So I got the diff drop in. It's just these 2 spacers, super simple, super easy. Now I'm about to try and put the front struts and springs in, which are over there, and then move to the back. Hopefully this goes pretty easy because I'm quite tired of working on this. I'm ready to be able to use it. So the first thing I want to start off doing is taking the bolts out for the lower ball joint down there. It's 4 of them, and then I'm gonna lay it all to the side. Hopefully it'll help me get this whole strut out pretty easy. And while I'm putting it all back together, I'm going to be putting the CV axles back in. Got the ball joint bolts out, as well as the front sway bar link, which I'm going to move to the back and use the 2nd gen sway bar links on the front. But with the ball joint loose, I can move this all over and have plenty of room to get this strut out. To get the strut out, it's pretty easy. 3 bolts right here and then the 1 bolt on the bottom. The strut is now out. That was really simple. While you're doing this job, I'd recommend doing the lower ball joints. I don't have them right now, but I'm going to do those later. I didn't take as many videos as I should have putting the lift on, but as you can see, it's now on in the front, and it is also on in the rear. You can barely see them up in there. It's a Bilstein 5100 strut and Old Man Emu springs. I got the medium load for the front and the rear because I didn't want to have the super bad ride up until, if I even get front bumper and rear bumper. But yeah, the ride height is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in the front and probably 2.5 in the back. It's about the perfect height, I think. It's a little nose down in the front, but nothing too crazy. We've got the hub out to change the wheel bearing because it's super worn out, and I'm gonna press the bearing out and get it all put back in the truck. So I got the 4Runner here. It's having a problem with the brake is sticking on this side, so I'm going to try to rebuild the caliper, which I've never done before. But to get the caliper off, there's 2 bolts on the back. There's 2 big ones, that one down there, and then that one right there. And then you have to, of course, take the brake line off, which I've already loosened, and it's dripping. So I'm going to get all that off and pull the caliper off and see what we're working with. So I got the caliper off now. I tried to cap this as best I could. The axle is obviously blowing crap out everywhere. I don't know if that's the diff seal or something in the axle. I don't really know. The caliper's right there. I'm gonna try and see if I can figure out how to rebuild that. It was definitely stuck. I had to pry it off, so hopefully this fixes my problem. So I just got the caliper out. It's very old and crusty and rusty, but hopefully when I take it apart, rebuild it, clean it up, hopefully it'll move like it's supposed to, because I don't want to have to do this again, and I also don't want to have to buy a new caliper. So I'm getting the seals out now. I'm just using this pick right here and just sticking it behind the seals and pulling them out. This is what they look like when you get them out. They have these little metal rings that hold them in, but mine are super crappy. Like, if you touch them, they just fall apart. So those definitely need to be replaced. I'm going to continue pulling these, and hopefully I can blow the pistons out with compressed air, and hopefully they'll come out pretty easy. So I've got all but one of the pistons with a clamp on it, so I can just work on one at a time. This piece of board in here to keep it from coming all the way out. And what I'm going to do is blow air into the hole where brake line came from, and it should push this out. When it comes out, I'll push it back in and clamp this one and get all of them loose, and then I can pull them out by hand. So I've got the pistons out. They blow out a lot harder than you think. If you've never done a caliper job, they blow out and make a huge noise when they hit the wood. But just be sure to not have your hands anywhere inside of here. But it's not terrible once you get them all blown out individually, and then push them back in enough for them to seal, and then clamp them and blow out the next one. It's a process. You kind of got to just figure out how it works for you, but once you get it going, it's not that bad. So you want to split the caliper in two. You'll just take off these 4 14mm bolts, and that way you can easily get into the insides of the caliper. So I got all this cleaned out inside of here. I've cleaned up the pistons as well. What I'm going to do is put the new ones of these gaskets right here in these grooves, and then there's these little couple small ones that go in here. I'm just going to go ahead and put those in and put the pistons in and throw this thing back together. So I got the pads back in and the seals and pistons and everything, so hopefully this thing is going to work when I put it back on the car. The 4Runner is now pretty much finished, other than some little annoying things here and there, like the power steering just decided to start leaking this morning, but it's running pretty good now. I'll go ahead and fire it up. I have to leave the door open because of a problem with the security system, or the locks rather. They want to try and lock as soon as the door shuts, even if the key's in it, so that's not very fun. But yeah, it runs good. I've been driving it for probably 2 weeks now, so running wise, it's definitely all good. I bought these wheels off of Facebook Marketplace. They're off of like a 2015 or so 4Runner SR5. They look way better on the car than I thought they were. I'm definitely glad I went with these over I think it's the TRD off-road 4Runner wheels, the like 6-spoke or whatever ones. I got these General Grabber ATX tires. They look pretty good. They were the cheapest name brand all-terrain tire I could see, but I got them over the Toyo and the Falcons just so I like the tread better. But they're holding up pretty good. They only have like 500 miles on them maybe, but there's zero road noise, and it drives perfectly straight, so I'm very satisfied with them so far. The offset is near perfect for a 4Runner with the SR5 flares, so that's pretty cool too. I also installed this roller roof rack here. I have an extension too, but with the length of it at the moment, I think if I added anything more, I would need this to come farther, so I have to get another rack off of another car at maybe the junkyard or something, added in here so I can slide this mount up farther to make sure it's sturdy as it should be. The one thing I will say about this rack is at about 65, it makes a good bit of wind noise. It might not bother some people, but I'd gotten so used to the truck being so quiet that I want to figure out something to do to make it better. If anybody has made a roller rack quieter, or if theirs didn't make any noise, let me know in the comments. I'm thinking maybe if I extended this wind deflector to the side, maybe that would help or something. I don't even know really what's causing the wind, but it definitely happened after the roof rack. This is pretty much how it sits now though. In the future, I plan to put the correct year grill in it so I don't have this gigantic gap on this side. This is an 02 grill, and I'm hoping that maybe the grill is just a little bit wider and I can put the 96 grill in and it worked fine. I definitely need a windshield. Mine's cracked. You can't really tell it with the reflections, but it's cracked all the way up to the roof and all the way across the bottom. I need to respray the windshield wipers front and back. And then I apparently now need to replace a steering rack, or either hope that ATF will swell the seals enough to fix it. But as of now, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm probably gonna work on stuff for the inside more now and try to get it ready for some trips over the mountains or something like that. It's slowly but surely getting there. It looks and drives a million times better than I ever would have expected to when I went and got it. So far, I'm extremely satisfied and can't wait to do more things to it.